Okay, welcome everyone to regular council meeting, and actually the first council meeting for 2015, believe it. And already we're just about into over half of January's gone, and before we know it, we'll probably be bringing on the budget 2015. And I won't say that everything is on the table, but we'll see what happens, and certainly as we move forward this year, everything could be on the table. Before we get into our regular council meeting, first like to recognize the contributions that our citizens continue to make in making our town what it is. And certainly if you drove around the town of Grand Falls-Windsor during the Christmas time, you would have seen that a lot of our people take pride in their property and certainly make sure that their houses are well decorated and lit for Christmas and in the spirit of Christmas. And certainly we always like to recognize that at the beginning of the new year. And certainly like to take this opportunity as well to say a big thank you to those who volunteered to do the judging. I know the was not an easy decision to make with so many people in the town of Grand Falls-Windsor having so many lights up this Christmas, and having to judge that certainly was I'm sure, a challenge. But challenge or not, we do have three citizens that have been winners, and of course the first prize for $100 goes to Kevin and Ellen Fewer on 390 Grenfell Heights. And just like to, they received a $100 donation, and the money has been donated to the food bank on behalf of Kevin and Ellen Fewer. And I don't know I don't think there's anybody here representing Kevin and Ellen tonight. And so the first prize winner, and the money has been donated to the local food bank. The second prize, Christopher and Joanne Monette, it's 388 Grenfell Heights. So it looks like the 390 and the 388 we're having a bit of competition, which is always good and healthy to have competition in your neighborhood. What's that? And 378, but we won't make any mention of 378. Maybe it's set too far back in the woods you can see the lights, so maybe that's the problem, and the driveway is too long, so we won't go there. And so that's the second prize winner. I don't think there's anybody here to represent Christopher and Joanne. And our third prize winner, Dr. James and Candace Sheridan. That's a $50 and 114 Goodyear Avenue, and certainly that was a beautiful display of light. So if we could have somebody come up and receive the check. Now, I think I begin, come on in. I think I begin to see you guys every year. Am I not? So how did you make it with the money the last time you won? Remember were you going to split the money last time?
Yes.
How did that work out?
Good.
Good.
Yep.
So did you get an opportunity to, how much did you get? Did you get 50-50 or you get 60-40? How much did you get?
I think probably 50-50.
You think so?
Yeah.
And so you're going to do the same thing now?
Yes.
So you're 50-50 of 50. What are you going to get?
25.
25. Wow. See? We're going to have them in to balance our budget, Mr. Director and Treasurer, when we get our budget done. So congratulations. Now, I want to know, how much did you decorate? Very much?
Yep.
Did you help?
Well,
Just a little bit, eh?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, you keep up the good work because you guys do a great job down there. And when we drive down Goodyear Avenue, it's always nice to see your house. So you're pretty anxious to get money, aren't you? Anyway, so listen, I'll tell you what. You tell the cameras your name again, now. So you're on TV, so tell me your name.
Kellyanne Sheridan. Aiden Sheridan.
There you go. So now, there you go. Congratulations, and congratulations. And here's a check, and we'll see you the next time. When's the next contest we have? Do we have one for Valentine's? No, we don't, do we?
No, we're going to talk about that in committee. We might have a Winterlude light up, maybe.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I'm just
Okay, well,
throwing
maybe
it out there.
Councilor Mercer might be able to put a light on his house. Okay, good. Thank you so much. Okay, and we do have a commercial property as well, Grand Winds Hyundai, and they had the best decorated commercial property. So again, we say thank you to our business community as well, who get involved in the Christmas light up and participate in that way. And so congratulations to Grand Winds Hyundai. Okay, no, there are no petitions, no proclamations tonight, so we're moving on into the regular council meeting for January the 20th, 2015. First of all, the minutes from our last meeting, which was meeting number 439, December the 16th. Are there any errors or omissions in those minutes? Okay, if not, we'll have a motion to accept the minutes as circulated, moved by Councilor Mercer and seconded by Councilor Pinson. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. Business arising from the minutes? No business arising from the minutes. We move to disbursement report. Councilor Mercer.
Disbursement report for January 20th, 2015 in the amount of $459,318.58.
Okay, moved by Councilor Mercer and second by Councilor Morris. Any questions, discussion on the disbursement report?
I just want to make a comment.
Sure.
I'm very happy to see playground supplies in the disbursement report. Looking forward to seeing that new equipment as it arrives and for it to be installed this coming spring for summer playtime. So that's been a long time coming. I'm very happy to see that in here.
Okay, good. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. Committee of the Whole, Deputy Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, committee of the whole meeting was held on Tuesday, January 6th at 4:30 p.m. Present were yourself as mayor, myself, Deputy Mayor, Councilors Darren Finn, Amy Cody Davis, Bruce Moores, Tom Pinsent, and Rodney Mercer. Staff Michael Pinsent, Jeff Saunders, and Dave Nichols. Mill property. The committee had a general discussion regarding the mill demolition, future Nalcor occupation of the land along the river, and future use of the land once demolition was complete. It was agreed that council would develop an action plan to methodically achieve certain goals to ensure the property gets used to the most prudent and responsible manner in the future. The committee recommends that council and senior staff meet with a third-party facilitator to formally start that process. I move the recommendations and report of this committee be adopted and the meeting adjourned at 7:30 p.m.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor. We have a second for that. Second by Councilor Mercer. Any questions, discussions on the Committee of the Whole? If not, all those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. Economic Development and Tourism. Councilor Cody Davis.
Economic Development and Tourism met on Monday, January 12th at 4:30. In attendance were myself as chair, Mayor Hawkins, Deputy Mayor Manuel, Councilors Pinsent, Finn, Moores, and Mercer. Staff included Mike Pinsent, Town Manager Clerk Gary Hennessy, Economic Development Officer, and Stanley Singh, Business Development Officer, and also Mr. Don Pelly, who attended our meeting from about 5 to 5:30 p.m. The brand items, the committee discussed the status of our current inventory of brand items. The Economic Development Officer presented a list of items purchased in 2014 and the quantities that remain. The committee recommended that the Economic Development Officer identify several new brand promotional items from various sources and report back to the committee at the next committee meeting in 3 weeks' time. Mobile vendor regulations. The committee reviewed the existing mobile vendors regulations with respect to the selling of fireworks. The majority of council recommends this regulation be reviewed at a future meeting. Midwinter Biver 2015, the Economic Development Officer gave a short report on a meeting held on January 6th with partners organizing this event. The event will take place from February 20th to the 21st, and work has begun on marketing the event. The Leisure Services Programmer will give a more detailed report to council at the Parks and Recreation Committee meeting later in the week. Home-based business regulations. Discussion on this topic was tabled until the next Economic Development Committee meeting. Steve O'Brien Foundation proposal. The town had been contacted to participate in a community event with this organization in the winter of 2015 as part of his cross-country tour. After reviewing the material supplied, the committee recommends that we do not participate in this event. Adventure Tourism, Don Pelly. Mr. Pelly gave a brief presentation to the committee on his work with the provincial government on identifying Beothic artifacts along the Exploits River. He suggested that once the mill property is demolished, we should proceed cautiously with the development of a tourism strategy that incorporates a Beothuk component into it. He also suggested that the study being done on the Grand Falls House should tie in with any strategy we might develop on the mill site and the Exploits River in the coming years. Other business. A new business list for 2014. The Economic Development Officer presented a list of new businesses that opened in 2014. There were a total of 44 new businesses that opened last year, 24 being commercial and 20 home-based. There were 47 businesses opened in 2013 and 27 in 2012. Cushman and Wakefield meeting. A representative from that company is meeting with the town manager, clerk, director of engineering and works, and an economic development officer on January 15th to discuss a business opportunity. Provincial Health and Wellness Grant Program. The economic development officer presented the details of this provincial government grant to the committee. Activities such as healthy eating and farmers markets qualify for this funding. The economic development officer will draw up a proposal and submit it by the January 28th deadline. Our meeting adjourned at 6:35 p.m. and I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
Thank you, Councilor Cody Davis. I have a second for that. Second by Councilor Finn. Any questions, discussions on the economic development tourism? Deputy Mayor?
Thanks, Mayor. Just something I'd like to point out, I guess, or suggest maybe to the economic development officer with regards to the provincial health and wellness program. I know in that criteria it provides funding for healthy eating, and it wasn't too long ago that I suggested the town start looking at perhaps looking at a way to adopt or at least infuse some healthy eating strategy into our events. And this may be an opportunity for us to use some of this funding. I know the farmers market is a just cause as well, but we may be able to use some of this funding, or suggest that we use some of this funding for healthy snacks during our regular events. I know that the program will cover that sort of thing, so just
Does that include committee meetings too?
I don't think
Not if you
that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion is carried. Looking forward to that. Okay, let's see, where are we? Parks, Recreation, Special Events. Deputy Mayors, all yours.
Parks, Recreation, and Special Events Committee met on Wednesday, January 14th at 4:30 p.m. In attendance for myself as chair, Councilor Amy Cody Davis, Tom Pinsent, Bruce Moores, Darren Finn, and Mayor Al Hawkins. Staff present were Michael Pinsent, Todd Mercer, and David Nichols. Community Enhancement Employment Program update. The director informed the committee that the town will not receive a Community Enhancement Program grant to continue work on the Scott Avenue ski trails this year. The committee recommends that the director follow up and obtain information on why this grant application was unsuccessful. 2015 Canada Summer Grants. The director informed the committee that the deadline for the 2015 Canada Summer Grants is January the 31st, 2015. The director will submit the 2015 applications. It was noted that all funding received will be 50% cost shared with the town. Town-funded capital requests. The committee discussed the 2015 town-funded capital request lists as presented by the director. The director will review the list with management committee next week. The committee recommends that the town-funded capital requests be further discussed and finalized at the next committee meeting. Playground equipment update. The director informed the committee that the new small equipment playground structures for Sutherland Drive Playground have been received and are ready for installation. Staff are meeting next week to finalize the large structures for Sutherland Drive Playground and all the structures for the Main Street Playground. The committee recommended that the 3 larger structures will be different. 2 will go to Sutherland Drive and 1 to Main Street. It was also recommended that all fitness and small structures be the same in both playgrounds for tendering purposes. All playground equipment will be going to tender on the last week of January. The committee looks forward to opening of both playgrounds and the splash pad in late May and early June. Fresh Start Theatre, Northcliffe Drama Club program budget. The Leisure Services Programmer presented the budget for the Fresh Start Theatre, Northcliffe Drama Club programs. The department will sponsor and operate both programs. The committee recommends that the presented budget be approved and looks forward to providing both programs to the community. Canada Day grant, the Director informed the committee that the deadline for the 2015 Canada Day grant application is January 15, 2015. The town application has been submitted and the committee looks forward to receiving another substantial Canada Day grant this year. Winterlude 2015, the committee discussed plans for the 2015 Winterlude, which will be held from February 13th to the 16th. Any individuals or groups wishing to organize an activity may contact the Parks and Recreation Department at 489-0450. Midwinter Biver. The Leisure Service Programmer provided the committee with the Midwinter Biver budget and schedule. The media advertising for the event will commence on January 15th and run up until mid-February. The committee is excited to be offering the Midwinter Biver and encourages participants to contact the Parks and Recreation Department to register for the event. Correspondence, Sparkling Blades Skating Club. The committee discussed correspondence presented from the Sparkling Blades Figure Skating Club with respect to the proposed partnership with the town for a gala event skating show in April 2015. The show would feature world-class skaters and would provide a much more upscale event than has ever been offered here before. The committee discussed the correspondence and recommends that the Director meet with the Sparkling Blades representatives and submit a total budget for the event for consideration at the next committee meeting. Sports Recognition Wall of Fame. The committee discussed the organization and implementation of a Sports Recognition Wall of Fame. As discussed at previous committee meetings, staff is preparing the possible location, cost, and labor required to institute a Wall of Fame. The committee will continue discussions on developing a concept, policy, and advisory committee to begin planning and work on this project in the next few weeks. Town Athletic Awards Recognition Ceremonies. The committee discussed the possible organization and operation of an annual athletic awards recognition ceremonies. It was noted that the Director has a significant amount of information on other towns' award ceremonies. The committee discussed having the athletic awards as either a standalone event or combining the ceremony with other town-sponsored recognition ceremonies. The Director will distribute the information compiled to date, and the committee will discuss this matter in preparation for the implementation in 2016. Correspondence Memorial Bench Request. The committee discussed correspondence received with respect to a request received to have a memorial bench placed at the memorial grounds. The committee recommends that this correspondence be sent to the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 12 for their input and advice on the request. Correspondence Canvas. The committee discussed correspondence received from the Central Visual Arts Society requesting space at the Excite Centre to operate the group's program and events, and also room to store their supplies and assets. Canvas appreciates the current use of the soccer clubhouse, but there have been some challenges which have prevented some members from access to the clubhouse. The committee recommends that staff allocate available temporary space at the Excite Centre to Canvas to operate their programs, special events, and to store their assets. Parks and Recreation Department winter programs. The Leisure Services Programmer informed the committee that the Parks and Recreation winter brochure has been delivered to all households via Canada Post. Registration for the department's winter programs have commenced this week, and there is good registration numbers for the various programs and events offered by the department. The committee looks forward to a successful winter program and encourages all residents to participate in the many activities available for all ages. The meeting adjourned at 7:07 p.m. and I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
Okay, it's been moved by Deputy Mayor and second by Councilor Finn. Any questions, discussions on the Parks, Recreation, and Special Events Committee report and recommendation? Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I just want to elaborate a couple instead of doing
Later.
it during the minutes or later. I figured I'd throw it in there now. Just to draw attention to a couple of things. The town programs in the winter, as it made reference to in the minutes there, the registration has started. And these are new programs in many cases that the town are offering. We've got stroller fitness there, learning to cook and cooking from all over the world, GPS course, backyard composting, fly tying, seniors in technology, the gardening program, introduction to photography, badminton, all these programs for many different ages and that. So I'd encourage the citizens to get in contact with the Recreation Department, and I know registration, some of these has been going very fast, others not so much, but of course this is all a test, I guess, if you will, to see what works and what doesn't for future programming. So I just encourage the residents to contact the department to get more information on that. And just to elaborate a little bit, Mr. Mayor, on the the 4th annual Midwinter Biver. This is an event, of course, that's been going on in central Newfoundland for the last number of years, and this year the town of Grand Falls-Windsor has taken on the organization of the event, as you know, and Chef Rory McPherson will be here. Of course, he's the executive chef at the Sheridan Hotel in St. John's, very well-known and well-respected chef, and there'll be a lot of eating going on, I think, over that weekend, and you know, on Friday there's going to be an icebreaker event, just to refer to the notes I have here. An outdoor evening embracing winter and all of it has to offer at Centennial Field. And then Saturday, the feature event, which is a trail mix, will take the riders on a 150-plus kilometer snowmobile ride through the untouched forests and top-rated snowmobiling destinations paired with interpretation on historic trapping routes, food sourcing, geology, and traditional winter skills. Saturday evening, we'll host the Foragers Feast and showcases local ingredients gathered from the region and created by local chefs, and of course under the direction of Rory McPherson. If anybody wants more details on this and like to register, again, if they could contact Todd Mercer at the Recreation Department at 489-0588, and he'd be able to give more information on that. But a great event, and something I think will be very enjoyable to break up the monotony of winter. And there's
some of them space limited.
Space is limited, absolutely, yeah, and they will have a website live within the next 48 hours, and it's www.midwinterbiver, and that's Biver with 2 V's, .com. So if you want more information, you can also check out the website. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I couldn't help but all the time you're talking about Midwinter Biver, that Councilor Pinson was having a very chuckle down there, so I have no idea what he's going through his mind. I'm not going to ask what's going through his mind. I think he must be talking about the food. All right, we have a mover and seconder. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. On to Public Works and Planning. Councilor Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Public Works and Planning Committee met on Tuesday, January 13th at 4:30 p.m. Present were myself as chairperson, Mayor Al Hawkins, Deputy Mayor Barry Manuel, Councilors Bruce Moores, Amy Cody Davis, Rodney Mercer, and Tom Pinson. Staff present were Mike Pinson, Jeff Saunders, Nelson Chapman, Wayne Tate, and Mary Wan. Crown Lands request, 104 Granville Heights. The committee reviewed the application for additional Crown Land at the rear of 104 Granville Heights. Councillor Pinson excused himself from this item because of a family relationship. The committee recommends that the request be approved and the land be sold as per policy. Crown Land request, 106 Granville Heights. The committee reviewed the application for additional Crown Land at the rear of 106 Granville Heights. The committee recommends the request be approved and the land sold as per policy. Crown Lands request, 126 Granville Heights. The committee reviewed the application for additional land at the rear of 126 Granville Heights. The committee recommends the land be sold as per policy. Request for rezoning to develop a convenience store at 324 Granville Heights. The town of Grand Falls-Windsor received a request to amend the Municipal Integrated Community Sustainability Plan and Development Regulations in order to rezone the property at 324 Granville Heights from a low to medium density residential multi-unit residential zone to a commercial neighborhood zone. The purpose of this request was to enable the development of a convenience store. A notice for feedback was mailed to 43 property owners adjacent to the proposed site. The town received 7 letters from property owners who objected to the proposed rezoning and 3 letters from property owners who were in support of the zoning change. The committee reviewed the proposal and the feedback from adjacent property owners. The committee recommends that the request to amend the plan and the development regulations be denied for the following reasons. There is already an area along Granville Heights that is zoned for a convenience store, but is not currently in operation. There are strong concerns regarding increased traffic, noise, and overall disruption to the residential neighborhood. Request for rezoning to develop a single family dwelling, Main Street West. The town of Grand Falls-Windsor received a request to amend the Municipal Integrated Community Sustainability Plan and Development Regulations in order to rezone a 1.898 hectare property property. Main Street West from industrial light zone to a conservation zone to a single unit urban residential zone. The majority of the property is within the industrial light zone, and a small portion at the rear of the property near Little Rushy is within the conservation zone. The committee reviewed the proposal and recommends that the request to amend the plan and the development regulations be denied for the following reasons. The area zoned industrial light is designated specifically for industrial type development because of its proximity to major roadways, the Trans-Canada Highway, and other nearby industrial areas. There is no town water and sewer infrastructure in place for residential development in the proposed area. Residential development is not permitted in the area zone conservation. Classic Theatre temporary sign application, Scott Avenue. The town of Grand Falls-Windsor received a sign application to advertise Classic Theatre film titles on a temporary magnetic sign on former Abitibi land adjacent to Scott Avenue behind the Classic Theatre property at 10 High Street. This sign is attached to a 6-foot high metal pole on a stand. Sign face is 4 feet by 3 feet. The committee reviewed the application. The location of the temporary magnetic sign is within the commercial downtown zone. The town is in the process of continuing with a downtown streetscape improvement by preparing a downtown signage strategy and regulations for High Street downtown area, which includes the location of this temporary sign. The current use of the temporary magnetic sign along Scott Avenue by the Classic Theatre can continue until notification of removal by the town. The following are the permit conditions. Location of the placement of the temporary magnetic sign is temporary and must be removed when requested by the town. The application must ensure that the sign is properly secured and anchored at all times. The applicant must ensure that the sign is in good condition at all times. The applicant must ensure that the immediate signage area is maintained, weeds cleared, and no debris. The temporary magnetic sign may be ordered to be removed immediately if any conditions are not met. And should council decide that this type of sign does not complement the downtown signage strategy regulations, the applicant will be notified and must promptly remove the sign. Exploits River Resort. The proponent has a new model and plan for the resort development and requests another meeting with the town to review. The committee recommends that the proponent be invited to the next Public Works and Committee planning meeting. Street name requests. The committee reviewed a request for street names and recommends the names be added to our list for future reference. Saturday drop-off schedule. The committee reviewed the 2015 Saturday drop-off schedule and recommends it be approved. Garbage regulations. The committee discussed the proposed changes that will be implemented at the Central Newfoundland Waste Management Facility in March or April. Waste will be separated at the residence and homeowners will be required to use blue transparent bags for recyclable materials and white transparent bags for other waste. Staff are still waiting for details from Central Newfoundland Waste Management so an education program can commence. Central Newfoundland Waste Management will also be sending information packages to all homeowners in the region. The committee expressed concerns over the timelines for the implementation and recommends staff obtain the required information as soon as possible. This change will also require the existing garbage regulations to be rewritten, and staff recommends staff commence this process for review at a future committee meeting. Street names, Maloney Industrial Park. A street name is required for Maloney Industrial Park. The committee recommends that council review the latest street name list and discuss the selection of several names at a future meeting. Easement 137 and 139 Harmsworth Drive. The town notified the residents at 137, 139 Harmsworth Drive that there was a revised price to purchase the easement between their properties. They are interested but requested an extension on the deadline to make their final decision. The committee recommends this be approved, and staff will work with the residents to have the arrangement finalized at a later date. Twin Falls Oasis RV Park. The committee reviewed a document from the Department of Environment concerning the development of a RV park at the former Oasis site at Leech Brook. The general layout does not include any parking or pedestrian walkways for locals who visit the popular swimming location during the summer. The committee recommends that a response from the council be sent to the Department of Environment requesting the applicant to identify and ensure suitable parking and access is maintained for daily use of the Leech Brook swimming area. Affordable housing. Deputy Mayor Manuel stated he has received several requests by residents for development of smaller, more affordable single-family homes. The committee recommends this concept be discussed with the new owner of ADDA Homes Development on Main Street. Capital Works. The revised Schedule A. The committee discussed the Capital Works program and funding. The Schedule A, which identifies projects and associated funding, has to be revised. The attached document shows the existing and revised number of projects, but the total capital allocations remain the same. The committee discussed the addition of 7 projects that were not included in the original schedule, but have been discussed in recent months. Number 1, Duggan to Trans-Canada Highway access. This will be added as an extra to the Duggan Street upgrading. Grenfell Heights, Hardy, Scott Avenue intersection, construction of a roundabout. Number 3, water treatment plant overrun, previous work completed in 2014. Number 4, ball field lighting. Number 5, memorial grounds. Number 6, PLC upgrade at the sewage treatment plant and the Grenfell Heights booster pumping station. And number 7, exterior renovations to the public works depot. The committee recommends that the new Schedule A be approved with the additions of the projects listed above. The committee recommends that the funds required for the additions for overruns would come from the civic building funding. Gas tax capital investment plan. The town received notification that we must submit a capital investment plan for the funds remaining in the 5-year gas tax allocation, $2,345,811. This expires March 31st, 2019. The committee recommends that the funds be allocated to complete the paving for the arterial road presently under construction, paving and concrete work on Maloney Street, and commencement of work on Cromer Avenue extension to Princess Drive. The meeting adjourned at 7:30 p.m. Mr. Mayor, I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
Moved by Councilor Finn, second by Deputy Mayor. Any questions, discussions? Certainly a lot of items to deal with, and I noticed that my poor civic building funding is getting less and less and less, and I would suspect by the time that we're in a position to construct a civic building, it will be about 50 by 50. What do you think that?
The projects, Mr. Mayor, have a very civic
Civic-minded?
responsibility.
Well, I tell you, there's a lot of things that I fully understand, but I wanted to point that out. All those in favor and against? Okay, motion's carried. Were you in against?
I was against. I have some questions regarding the zoning.
Well, it's a bit late now. I asked if there's any discussions or questions, and nobody had any questions or discussions. Then I called for a vote, and we had a vote, and it's 6-1. Moving on. 2, resolution. Councilor Mercer.
Mr. Mayor, resolution revised gas tax capital investment plan, whereas the town of Grand Falls-Windsor qualifies for funding under the provincial gas tax agreement, whereas all spending under this agreement must be approved through submission of a gas tax capital investment plan. And whereas the town of Grand Falls-Windsor has a funding shortfall of $354,446.30 in project number 9920145009, and has an unallocated balance of $2,345,811 in gas tax allocation to March 31st, 2019. Therefore, be it resolved that the gas tax capital investment plan be amended to increase the funding for project number 9920145009 by the amount of $354,446.30 from the 2014-2019 gas tax funding for the total allocation of $1,165,974.68, including $133.38 from the previous gas tax agreement. Also allocate $687,731.15 for Maloney Street paving and $1,303,633.55 for Cromer Avenue extension. Now, Mr. Mayor, was anyone paying attention? Can anyone
Absolutely,
repeat any of
absolutely.
these
I got it
numbers?
all straightened out.
So, I
Move.
propose this, Mr. Mayor.
I know. Okay, resolution. GFW 2015-233, moved by Councilor Mercer and second by Councilor Moore. Any questions, discussions on the resolution? If not, all those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. Any notice of motion? No notice of motion. Moving to other business. Councilor Cody Davis. First off the block.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to highlight first off that the new editor of the Advertiser, Mr. Randy, is here this evening, and he's live and tweeting as we move along. I'm following him along as our meeting progresses.
My battery is dead, so I can't
Oh,
tweet.
yes.
I can't follow tweeting.
He's on the ball this evening. He's making sure all the messages get out there. Well, you can get it all tonight. You don't have to wait till the Thursday edition. You can get more detailed information in the Monday and Thursday edition, but if you want to know what's happening here tonight, you can check out the Advertiser's Twitter account. Just a couple of things for me tonight, actually. I wanted to make mention, the Newfoundland and Labrador English School District did have a presentation here last Tuesday at EVH up on Grenfell Heights to talk about the restructuring of the primary and elementary school system, K to 6. They did give a detailed presentation. There will be another meeting in February for parents to offer input. And also the presentation, if you were unable to attend that meeting, the presentation is available on their website, NLESD, for Newfoundland and Labrador Eastern School District.ca. You can click on the presentation and view all the information that they presented. And they're also asking for feedback from residents of the community and people with children in that school system. So I would suggest that you, if you have an interest in that, please go to that website and submit your feedback so that they make the informed decisions when they come back for their final presentation in March as to what will happen. It looks like the restructuring won't happen till 2016-17. However, we certainly don't want to wait till everything is finalized and then say, you know, well, we should have suggested this or that. So please visit that website and offer your input and suggestions. Also, more good news for the town of Grand Falls-Windsor on land sales. There recently there was a large parcel of land formerly owned by the Catholic Church, 16 acres of land. That land has been purchased. So I know that was for sale for quite a long time. There is now a buyer, and we're looking forward to some exciting development happening there in the near future. So again, just want to make a note, Grand Falls-Windsor is open for business as always. So please continue to visit us and follow the Advertiser for breaking news. Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Moores.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The only thing I wanted to report was that the fire department has Had a recruitment on go the last couple of months. They had 15 applicants, and there were 6 new recruits joined the fire department. So I just want to report that the fire department is at full strength and is doing a great job for our town.
Cool. Councilor Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In keeping with the fire department and Councillor Moore's comments about how well they're doing, I'd like to throw a bouquet to the fire department. This past Christmas Day actually, when we were all sitting back with our families enjoying turkey and Christmas and gifts and the pleasure of family and stuff being around, our fire department was called to a fire that could have been much tragic and worse than what it actually was, just up the street from me on Grenfell Heights in mid-afternoon. And the response from the fire department, these volunteers who put their families aside to help others, are to be commended. And I think we probably have one of the best, or the best, fire department in the province, given the response time on Christmas Day, and the attendance was absolutely overwhelming. So on behalf of residents in the area, I guess all citizens, I'd like to congratulate the fire department on the tremendous work that they do in the community. Secondly, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to congratulate our Executive Secretary here at the Town Hall, Ms. Jill Rousseau, on her upcoming retirement. Jill has been with the town for a long time. I know Mr. Pinson has probably been with her almost 30 years, and she's going to be missed around this place. I know as a new councillor here in the chambers, she's been actually instrumental in helping me learn the way of rules and regulations around council. And I got to say, from my interactions with Jill, she's been absolutely stellar and outstanding, and she's going to be missed, not by people here, but from everyone. So I'd like to wish Jill a successful retirement and nothing but the best of health. The last thing on my agenda is the Exploits Trail Net. I know snow is not big on people's mind these days, given that we haven't had much, but the Exploits Trail Net, formerly known as the Exploits Snowmobile Federation, have been doing a lot of work behind the scenes this past fall. I know they've negotiated a $200,000 grant from the National Trails Coalition for infrastructure improvements, and that these people have been working diligently behind the scenes and out on the trails trying to increase tourism and snowmobiling here in central Newfoundland, especially here in Grand Falls-Windsor region. Some of the projects that they've taken on this past fall has been the installation of a 75-foot Bailey Bridge at Peters River, which is much needed. They've replaced a bridge on Marianne Dam, as well as a bridge replacement on Twin Lakes, in addition to culverts and other trail infrastructure needed along the way. So for snowmobile enthusiasts, these are exciting times, only if we get snow. I know not everyone is thrilled about snow, but if you're a snowmobile enthusiast like myself, I would encourage the gods above to give us some snow.
You can move to Labrador if you like.
No, that's 60 centimeters is a little too much, Mr. Mayor. But given the overwhelming demand for trail grooming last year, the Federation has also added a second groomer this year, just to keep up with the demand times for last year. Now, the way it works for grooming is that trail passes that are purchased equates to grooming. So without people buying trail passes, it reduces the hours. Now, I know this time of year, almost the end of January, we haven't needed any grooming, but I'm hoping that we will in February, March, April, and probably early May.
Let's not push it.
So I would encourage people.
Early May.
Let's not push it.
So I'd encourage people to, when the snow comes, to start buying their trail passes and enjoying the outdoors here in central Newfoundland. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Mercer. Councillor Pinson.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to congratulate you and I spoke at the LPN grad. Congratulations to them and the College of North Atlantic. Last time we all know that the mill demo was going to take place, and where some residents have asked me what are we going to do with the property. Obviously, we're going to open it up, and we're going to be very slow and deliberate in our attempts to make it a tourism attraction. Mobile regulations, we heard some things about fireworks, and it's sad that that happened, and there was a note left today, I won't say by where the note came from, but somebody said they actually lost enough that they pulled some community donations that they used to do. So it's sad to see, and we really need to revisit those regulations. In the Parks and Recs, not Parks and Recs, in the Public Works, there was a request for rezoning, and I never got a chance to develop it, because when I was in committee meeting, there seemed to be a split on council, and all of a sudden today, there's no split. Everything's good, and it's not good. It's not sitting well with me at all. Basically, it denies the request for rezoning for a convenience store. And this really, Councilor Cody Davis said that we were open for business, and I think this really doesn't show we're open for business. I think it's crazy. And, you know, some of the things I was going to say in the debate that I thought we were going to have is that the increased traffic. Yet, so I go down to visit the area and see some of these places that have large trucks and the like, and it's going to increase the traffic.
Councillor Pinson, I thought that we had ample opportunity when because really once the motion is passed and according to Robert's rules.
I still think we should have a chance to talk about it.
You can't talk on that motion again.
I'm not talking about the motion, this is other business.
And the issue
so I'm
that
speaking on other business.
was dealt with was done in a manner that everyone had an opportunity to speak, and then because normally when I go through committees, if there's not usually any issues that come out of committees, they move through fairly quickly. And I intentionally, when Councillor Finn had concluded his recommendation, I intentionally delayed and asked if there were any questions, any discussion, before I called for the vote. And I heard none, and so I called for the vote. And the vote came in, and the vote has been done.
I understand all that.
So, you know,
I still think it never got said, and I think in public it needs to be said. And I'm just very disappointed that we went down that road, because I think it's regressive, and I think we should have at least given them a chance to have their say with a commissioner and the like. And I'm just very disappointed that we did that. That's all for me.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Pinson. Councillor Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to expand on something that was in the Public Works minutes, and I just got briefed before the meeting, so I don't have all of the information with respect to the regulations that are going to change and will affect all of our residents in terms of our garbage regulations. And because we knew that our garbage is going to have to start being separated at some future point, so we're getting to that point. Last year, around this time, we thought we were already there, and here we are again in January, and we're talking about the recycling program commencing on March 2nd, and they're expecting to have full compliance by March 30th. Now, I think these timelines are a bit ambitious, but we will see how that goes. It's not for this council to decide necessarily. We're a partner with all the communities in waste management, and they really are setting the rules and pace. And if we have any grievance with any of these, with this program or how it's implemented, then we have to voice that grievance back through Central Waste Management. But having said all of that, I do want to explain what the plans are, and I think that's most important because that's what's going to affect everybody on March 2nd. You know, what am I doing with my garbage in my home?
And also for people that are going to be buying black bags.
Well, and that's what I want to speak to.
Stop buying black bags.
Now, I will going through some of these points. Yeah. I will be explaining that we will be using the blue transparent, I think it's the blue bag and the transparent bag, which is a transparent bag. So we won't be accepting any of the black garbage bags in the future is what the new process will be. The blue bag will be for recyclable materials. And excuse me, the transparent bag will be for all other garbage. And so residents probably need to stop buying black garbage bags if you buy them in bulk, and start buying the blue bags and the transparent bags. So let me go through the points, and I'll revisit some of these points as I go through. So Central Waste Management is launching the curbside recycling program and garbage program for all residents of Central Newfoundland. It's the first of its kind in Newfoundland and Labrador. Our mandatory program will have the greatest positive impact on keeping waste out of the central regional landfill. So we got a landfill built, but we're trying to keep waste out of it. I was just being kidding there a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
It's an
it's all
interesting
for the
concept.
environment, and it does make sense. So waste will be sorted at residence in 2 streams. Recyclables are placed in the blue transparent bag, and a list of what's considered recyclables will be circulated by Central Waste in the coming weeks. I do have a list here now, but it's not really for my circulation, and I'll probably just mention a few items that people can expect that can be recyclable. But the official list will come from Central Waste Management in the form of their information distribution. Household garbage will go into a clear, transparent bag. 2 small privacy bags, non-transparent, for disposal of sensitive materials are permitted in the clear bag. Pre-launch of the program is scheduled for the end of January. Promotional package will be mailed to each residence by mid-February. This will include details of what is classed as recyclable, some sample bags, and the schedule, and probably some other materials. Information will also be available through radio, print, TV, and their website. And I think, Councilor Morris, they do have a website that's active, right? Thank you. The program will commence, as I said, on March 2nd, and full compliance is expected by March 30th. So, and the big thing here is black bags will no longer be accepted and will not be collecting them after March 30th. The town of Grand Falls-Windsor has 2 split stream collection trucks, and we are prepared for the implementation of this program. And a 2015 schedule for the Saturday drop-off is now available, and we'll be accepting waste that will not be collected at the curb. So our town also has a Saturday drop-off, so we'll be still collecting waste that's not permitted at the curb at the Saturday drop-off. So, so those are some big changes, Mr. Mayor, that are coming for all of our residents, all of our homes. And not so much for business, because businesses are already shipping theirs through commercial haulers to the Central Waste Management in any case. But some of the examples of what will be recyclable: books, computer paper, construction paper, envelopes, exercise books, glossy paper, loose leaf, magazines, catalogs, phone books, box board like drinks and coffee trays, egg cartons, gift boxes, paper towel rolls, shoe boxes, toilet paper rolls, cardboard corrugated boxes, pizza boxes, plastic containers, which will include beverage containers, pop and water bottles, juice bags, yogurt drink bottles, flower pots that are plastic only, food jars and bottles. Examples would be mayonnaise, ketchup, peanut butter, jam, honey, those kinds of bottles. Toiletry bottles, like dish soap and hand sanitizer. Well, the list goes on and on. Includes aluminum cans, pops, steel and tin cans. So there's a very big range of materials that are recyclable. So there's obviously an education period. The information gets circulated. People should post it in their home and on the fridge. But if you're not sure, just visit the website. You get used to what you buy. We buy the same things over and over. Most homes do anyway. And so you'll get used to what goes into the blue bag and what goes into the transparent bag. I don't know if I like the idea of transparent bag, honestly, for the garbage at the curb. But anyway, I didn't make that rule. I declare up front. So, Mr. Mayor, that's all I had today. I just wanted to inform the residents that that's coming up on them all fairly quickly, including me. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Finn. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few things here. I guess just to continue on with the point about Central Waste and the changes that are coming down the tube there, it's I just want to stress again, if Councillor Finn didn't make it clear enough, that a couple things. One is that this is being imposed on communities basically, and I don't mean that in a bad way, other than to say that this is not a town of Grand Falls-Windsor change. This is something that Central Waste is going to be telling us. This is how garbage collection is going to be done going forward. I am a little concerned about the timelines. The time is definitely tight to get this on the go in March, and here we are now towards the end of January, and I bet you if we poll our residents, there are very few that have any idea that this is coming very soon. We have been talking about trying to educate the general public as much as we possibly can, but I just want to make sure that it's clear that we are waiting on Central Waste Authority to get the list of what's going to be acceptable as recyclables, what's supposed to be in each bag, and other educational pieces before we can educate. We're waiting on the information from them, so I guess it's up to us to try to continue as much as possible to educate, but at this point our hands are kind of tied until we receive the information ourselves. So I just wanted to mention that.
You can put it on Facebook and tweet it. We got lots of followers. Isn't that right?
Yeah, we'll have it on Facebook and Twitter.
Well, I think we have lots.
But again, we are kind of, we're waiting on some specific detailed information in order to properly educate the citizens. So hopefully that comes very soon, because March 2nd will be here very soon, and I think we may be in for a little bit of a headache and some growing pains to get residents to get used to the new collection policies. Pardon me?
5 weeks?
5 weeks, yeah.
Clear bags are not even available yet here.
No,
Because all the retailers have been notified, but they're still not available.
yeah.
So, well, there you go.
And I guess we could
The
go.
blue one is, but the clear bag is still not available.
Yeah, so it's going to be hard to comply.
I would have a tempo of clear bag.
Non-compliant.
Yeah, but I'm sure there'll be some growing pains to get into this, but it's important that citizens know that at this point our hands are tied in terms of what we can do to educate until we get the information ourselves. It was made reference in the committee of the whole meeting that we had some discussion about the mill property, and of course a lot of people around town talking about the mill demolition, and it's imminent now, and I'm sure we're all glad that's going to happen. And really the planning for that site is something we all agreed is very important. What happens with that site in the future, as well as adjacent sites? There's already some development on the riverfront. Of course, that will open up another area of the river as well for potential development, and I use the term kind of loosely because development could come in many different forms. But council felt it important to start a planning process now to get ahead of the game and to make sure that all the ideas can get out there. We can have ample time for public consultation and to be able to gather ideas from the general public of what they would like to see down there. At the present time, of course, the land is still Crown land, and but I would like to see us, and I'm sure it's something that would come about in this this planning process, that we should sooner rather than later put in our intentions to the provincial government to let them know that we do want that land when it does become available for the betterment of the area and for the citizens of Grand Falls, Windsor and surrounding regions. So just to reiterate that point, I suppose, that we are going to be starting that planning process, and certainly if anybody in the general public has any ideas to pass along, all our contact information is on the website, and you can give us a call if you wish. And there will be some public consultations as well along the way, I'm sure. And speaking of the website, the town's new website is up now and running, www.grandfallswindsor.com. So I'd invite residents, if you haven't already, to go have a look at the new site. It is important to note that one of these quirky things about the internet, I guess, if you have the old site on your favorites, you may get the old site. So you need to go in and clear your cache and clear your history in order to access the new site. So if you're having trouble viewing it, that's probably your problem, and you can clear that and you should have no trouble. Just wanted to make mention of, it wasn't mentioned in any of the committee minutes, but it was in our previous council meeting minutes with reference to the Gordon Pinson statue. There's been a lot of talk about the Gordon Pinson statue, and I just wanted to kind of set the record straight a little bit, if I could, in terms of what we've discussed. It was said that if we could access funding from government sources or private foundations to do something like this, that we would have further discussion on that. But certainly I don't think anybody on this council wanted or intended to entertain spending hundreds of thousands of dollars of municipal funding to see a statue of Gordon Pinson erected in our town. No offense, and with all due respect to Mr. Pinson, obviously, well known in that, but there's been a little bit of misconception out there that council have seriously been considering this, and naturally people were feeling that this was going to be their tax dollars that were going to be going into it. Not the case. If we were able to access funding that was going to give us the amount of money required to do this statute, then perhaps it would be done. But if the municipality is going to be on the hook for the cost, certainly I'm comfortable in saying that unfortunately it will not. School reorganization, I know Councillor Cody Davis mentioned the reorganization in her comments. Just wanted to note my disappointment, I guess, with the school board in terms of the communication with the town of Grand Falls-Windsor. I know we met with them about a year ago now and talked about reorganization, and we were briefed on what was going to happen. Nothing was decided then. We were given some idea of the way things are going. Of course, once we found out the way things are going was much different than what we were told at that time. But really, we haven't been kept in the loop on this. And, you know, it's disappointing that the school board hasn't seen fit to talk to the town about the reorganization, their plans, what our concerns may be, and to get our input and what we're hearing from citizens. So I would encourage the school board, and maybe we could correspond with them to encourage that when they come in February for the next consultation, perhaps they could take the time to sit down with council, at least some representatives, to discuss the reorganization from our standpoint, to enlighten us on exactly what's going on, and we would have the opportunity to be able to pass along our concerns as well.
And I'm sure they would if we requested it.
Yes, and
It
well, I
was
think we should do
just
so.
unfortunate that, and I guess they probably thought that they would do this through public communication. I didn't receive anything, I think, until 2 days prior to I think I received correspondence, a letter, 2 days prior to the actual meeting that night. So it wasn't like we had lots of notice.
No, so I would suggest.
And it was
then that
probably
we-
just, on their part, was probably just generally done, because I think the intent of that particular meeting was to just, I guess, plant the seed and just to advisory, like this is what's happening, because there wasn't really any time, although there were some discussion. It wasn't intended to have input from the general public at that time. They're coming back in February for the input from the community as such. So, and I got a feeling that's how that piece came down. So,
well, perhaps
we can
we can be
certainly-
proactive in
we
that, to
can certainly
contact them
request.
and ask them for some of their time when they come back in February, so that we can have a chat. The other thing I have on my list there is RCMP, and particularly the resources in Grand Falls-Windsor and in the central Newfoundland area, which are very much lacking. And you know, I mean no disrespect to our members; they do a fantastic job. But the fact is, you know, the old saying goes, one person can only do so much. And there are a lot of times in this community and surrounding communities, we have a couple of RCMP members, and I mean a couple in terms of two, who are responsible for policing the area from Botwood to Buckins. And if I'm incorrect on that geography, you can let me know, and perhaps it's even bigger than that. So I guess what I'm saying is that on a Saturday night, if something happens in Buckins that's of a serious nature and two members need to go, we're without any coverage. And I don't mean to be alarming or anything, but it's just the bare facts of what's going on. And when you look at other areas of our province, and particularly I look at Corner Brook out there, if you look at their population proportionate to their police coverage and ours proportionate to our population, Corner Brook has 2.5 to 3 times as much coverage for a much smaller, and in terms of number of members, the RNC of course are there, and that doesn't even consider the fact that we have a much bigger geographic area as well to cover. So, you know, I think it's time, and I know we are hoping to meet with the RCMP again very soon.
Well, yeah, this is the second time I've written the RCMP with regard to that, and you're correct. The first letter I sent off, I think, was probably early part of the fall, and I had concerns about the coverage. And so then just prior to December, I decided to go in, and I had a little bit of time on my hands, and I actually went into the RNC report, because they do have the annual report, number of officers attached to communities, and I was really shocked to numbers that you have quoted that I found in coverage in Corner Brook versus the RCMP coverage in central Newfoundland. So then I sent my second letter back to, I guess it's Paul Dowd, what's his title? Superintendent. And so I followed that up with, and I quoted in that letter the research that I'd done and the information I found, and told them it was totally unacceptable. And I think they realize that, and so he said he will be coming next February the 2nd, February the 3rd, Committee of the Whole, and we will have an opportunity to discuss that, because it really does concern me that the geography, the area they got to cover, certainly puts a strain on them. And I know that they are maxed when it comes to the coverage that they have to do and the number of hours they've got to work. So, yeah, it's a concern. So hopefully we'll get an opportunity on the 3rd to have a good chat about it.
And I guess beyond that, I mean, maybe it's a time we went to the provincial government.
Well, I
maybe
did. I copied the provincial government on all the correspondence, and I have not received any response from the provincial government. Zero on either letter that I sent.
I guess the reason why I wanted to mention it is obviously to put it on the radar, and we've been concerned about it for some time, but is maybe it's time for us to step up our aggressiveness there. If we don't get any satisfaction from this meeting on February the 3rd, then maybe we should look at other options of things we can be doing to step up the pressure to make sure that we do get the appropriate coverage here in our area for the citizens of not only Grand Falls-Windsor, but the entire region that our local RCMP cover. Just a couple more quick things, Mr. Mayor, before I finish. The firefighters were mentioned a couple times tonight. Well, I'd just like to put a plug in for the firefighters fun spiel at the curling club that's going on January the 30th and the 31st. And they are raising money in support of muscular dystrophy. And if anybody wants to register a team, and always a bit of fun, of course, at the curling rink, you can contact Wade Thompson. And Wade has his number publicized there at 486-3343 if you want to register a team for that event and support that good cause. And finally, just to echo Councilor Mercer's comments about Jill Rousel and her retirement coming up next week, and I wish her nothing but the best. Has been a mainstay here at the town hall, even since me as a teenager coming down here. My mother worked here, and that Jill was here at that time, and she's not much older than I am now.
Well, listen,
She
Jill,
was only a young woman at that time.
I was just going to go there. I said, I'm
Yeah.
not too sure Jill's going to appreciate this. If
No,
you're
she's
talking
not much
about
older than I am.
toddling along, right?
She's just retiring early, that's all. But Jill, I mean, just a real sweetheart of a person and a great personality for anybody who knows her, and I wish her nothing but the best in her retirement. And that's it for me,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Tough too, eh?
You got that right. Tell me about it. I live it every day as well. so. Thank you. Just one item that I wanted to bring up, because as you know, by the time we get around to me, usually they're all covered. Yesterday, I had the privilege of representing the town of Grand Falls-Windsor at the press release with the announcement that WestJet is coming back to Gander. And certainly, I never miss the opportunity when I speak, and I spoke in front of all the Ganderites yesterday to make sure everybody understood that Grand Falls-Windsor is indeed the largest center and largest town in central Newfoundland. And I made sure the president and vice president of WestJet knew that. And in case he missed it yesterday, I followed it up with an email, making sure that he understood that Grand Falls-Windsor is certainly the largest center. And it's not just because the buildings are located in Gander, doesn't mean that it's Gander's airport. It's actually our airport as well. And so we're pleased that WestJet is coming back. And I had a good conversation with the communications guy and also the president and vice president of WestJet. And it's called, actually is the vice president of WestJet and the president of WestJet Encore, because that's the name of the plane that they have. They have several of them. They are 78-seaters, and it's a prop, and but it's the design of the prop that actually will get the same speed from Gander to Halifax as the jet that Air Canada is using. And so starting in May, there will be direct flights from Gander to Toronto. And then starting in July, there will be direct flights to Halifax 7 days a week. So I guess it just gives us as customers a little bit more of a opportunity to in a competitive market to look for some good prices, and my understanding in my discussion yesterday that they will be having an introductory price coming up, so just, not that I want to promote WestJet, just the fact that they are coming back to central Newfoundland, and encourage you, if you are going to be traveling after May, to just take a look, and you may, who knows, get a cheaper price for probably a week or two, because you know that Air Canada then are going to drop their prices. So if you're going to be traveling in May and June, probably hold off for a little while until the announcement is made. So anyway, we are pleased that WestJet is back and providing that service to us in central Newfoundland, and certainly look forward to them being around for a while. Okay, so if there are no other comments, I will, Ms. Councilor Moores has moved, and we have a seconder, and we will see you in 3 weeks. Thank you.